2025 is no longer some made-up year off in the distance. It's here, and now I'm going to give you my top 10 most anticipated movies of this year. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and Happy New Year. Today, I've got my first video of 2025. As always, this is going to be my top 10 most anticipated movies of this calendar year, 2025. Before I get into this video, though, be sure to hit that like button, comment your top 10 most anticipated movies of the year down below, and of course, subscribe and hit that notification bell. But I want you to know these are movies that I'm the most excited for. A lot of them are movies that we have some sort of information about, such as a poster, release date, maybe even a trailer. A lot of them are sort of those big blockbuster movies because they're the ones that have the most information out publicly about them. A lot of movies that I see this year, we don't know much about yet, and we won't until like the summer or the festivals start up. Kickstarting this list at number 10 is going to be Final Destination Bloodlines, aka Final Destination 6. This has become a horror franchise over the years that I enjoy quite a bit. A lot of that is due in part to the Pretty Much It commentary tracks that I watch to accompany these films, but the first Final Destination is like a really great thriller horror, and the concept alone is just horrifying. Like, it's one that if you think about it too much, you'll really get in your head and start to feel like just scared of existing. Death comes for everybody, and that's kind of the premise of these films. It always opens with this like horrific act, these premonitions that play out. Every movie has the ability to scar you and make you rethink some sort of normal life scenario, whether that's driving on the highway behind a log truck or going on a roller coaster. This franchise will definitely mess you up, but with this sixth film, it's kind of taking a risk because the end of 5 ties a bow on the franchise so perfectly. I don't want to spoil anything, but it kind of brings everything full circle really well, and so trying to continue on after that, risky business, but I'll still be sat for a new Final Destination film. It's been a hot minute since we've got one, so had to throw this on the list. But number 9 for me is going to be Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery, aka Knives Out 3. We've got Daniel Craig returning as Benoit Blanc, and I've been a fan of both Knives Out films. Like, both of them, I think I gave a 4.5 out of 5, so I have no reason not to be excited about this new one. Plus, you got an even more star-studded ensemble cast here. You know what? I could sit here and try and rattle them off. Let's actually look on IMDb. Josh O'Connor, Josh Brolin, Mila Kunis, Jeremy Renner, Andrew Scott, Glenn Close, Thomas Hayden Church, Kaylee Spaney, and Kerry Washington, and more. Rian Johnson's back to write and direct. It's going to Netflix at some point, if I had to guess, around the fall, probably. But the star-studded cast, paired with Rian Johnson and his ability to write these murder mysteries really well, has me intrigued to see what this next story in the Knives Out universe is. But number 8 on my list is going to be F1. This is a movie about F1 racing, starring Brad Pitt, directed by Joseph Kosinski, who directed Top Gun Maverick. And the reason this is on my list is because that first teaser that dropped fully sold me. It looked like we were getting F1 racing sequences shot in the same style as a lot of the action sequences from Top Gun Maverick, and I was riveted. It looked like it combined elements of Moneyball, like the business side of F1, with the actual racing, and it puts you in the driver's seat on the track. It looks to be an enthralling sports drama, and Brad Pitt's the man. He's one of the coolest actors out there, one of my personal faves of all time. You already knew F1 was going to be on this list, but at number 7, I've got Saw 11. This movie was supposed to come out in 2024, but it got delayed. I'm hoping it actually drops this year and doesn't get delayed yet again, but every time I make an anticipated list, something always gets delayed, and I feel like this could very well be the one out of all the ones I have on this list. From what I gather, this is going to be a direct follow-up to Saw X or Saw 10, and it's going to be the second in a potential trilogy that takes place between the first and second Saw films. Saw X really worked for me because it humanized Jigsaw in a sense, and at least, you know, fleshed out human characters. It wasn't just like, hey, these people are going to be mutilated and we're gonna just go for it with these crazy traps. There's in-your-face gore and gross-out moments, which is a signature staple of this franchise, but it was one of the better films in the series because it had compelling characters and a story that you could actually follow. One of the, staples of this franchise is retconning things, and I'm sure they'll have something in store for us with this new entry. But at number 6 on my list, I've got Superman. This is the first DCU film James Gunn is directing. The teaser trailer broke the internet a couple weeks ago, and I'm excited for this movie. I'm not like over the moon, need it now, but I am really looking forward to it, especially because it marks the beginning of a new era for DC. This is a movie that 10, 15 years from now we could look back on as the Iron Iron Man for the MCU. It could be Superman for the DCU, and we could be building up to some epic Justice League live action film. This could be the one we look back on as the beginning of that era. It looks to be simpler. You know, there's hope in this film. It's more lighthearted than the recent iterations of Superman we've seen, and Corn Sweat really looks the role. I liked the aesthetic of the film based on that teaser. To me, James Gunn hasn't missed when it comes to comic book movies or shows. I looked at the Guardians trilogy, the Suicide Squad, Creature Commandos, Peacemaker. I mean, the man knows what he's doing in this genre, so I have full faith in him, and I'm definitely excited for this new Superman. But at number 5 on my list, I've got Thunderbolts, the second MCU film to come out next year. That trailer fully won me over with the use of Where's My Mind by the Pixies, but Yelena and Red Guardian are two of my new favorite characters from this new era of the MCU. They both obviously debuted in Black Widow, but we saw Yelena appear again in Hawkeye. You also throw in Bucky and John Walker, along with some other interesting characters who had supporting roles in MCU projects, and they're forming almost like a Suicide Squad-esque team in the MCU. I'm here for anti-heroes sort of leading the way in an MCU project. I feel like this will be one of the more grounded, street-level type of MCU films, and stylistically, I think it's really going to stand out on its own. From the trailer, it doesn't look like it has the typical MCU gloss or, you know, visual flair to it. I feel like this film actually is going to stand out stylistically, which is rare for a lot of MCU movies nowadays, and I'm excited as hell. I hope it's gritty, I hope it goes for it, and I'm interested to see how these characters could play a role in the future of this cinematic universe. But at number 4 on my list, I've got the Fantastic Four First Steps. We have no footage from this officially yet, and when that trailer drops, it will be the talk of the town. If I had to guess, we'll get our first teaser probably on Super Bowl Sunday in February. The cast alone sold me on this. I don't even need to see any footage. We got Joseph Quinn as Human Torch, Evan Moss-Backrack as The Thing, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, and of course Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. Real excited to see that chemistry between the cast in action. The score of the film has been teased. Michael Giacchino is composing the film, and the man doesn't miss, really. He did the Batman, but he's also played his hand in Pixar with Ratatouille and some other wonderful scores. So I have full confidence that the score of this film will elevate it to another level, but it also is going to be like a period piece Marvel film, I believe, set sometime in the 60s, I want to say, and I'm just down for this. I said Thunderbolts could stylistically stand out. You bet your ass Fantastic Four The First Steps will as well. Both movies, very excited for. Anytime a new MCU film comes out, it's probably going to be on this list, and these two I'm the most excited for by far next year in terms of the MCU movies. At number 3 on my list, I've got a movie that doesn't have a title yet, so it is Paul Thomas Anderson's new movie starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Paul Thomas Anderson directed, you know, Boogie Nights, Magnolia, Punch Drunk Love, There Will Be Blood, the list goes on, and he's working with Leonardo DiCaprio, one of the great actors of our generation, for the first time ever. This was going to be top 3, and you could argue it's my most anticipated. We have no poster, no real trailer or footage. We've just seen some behind the scenes set pics, and I've read online via some speculation that this is going to be a bit of a different movie for PTA. It could be more of like an event type film. I don't know what that means. Could this have, you know, more action in it? I have no clue, but I'm always going to want to check out a new Leonardo DiCaprio movie because of how selective he is with his projects. Like, he doesn't just churn out a movie or 2 movies a year. He rarely acts anymore. He was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Killers of the Flower Moon. He himself is becoming like an event actor, much like how Tarantino or Nolan are like event directors. Leo's like an event actor. You got to go see what he's going to be in. But then you've also got PTA and him directing Leo. I feel like that's going to be a match made in heaven. Gotta see this movie. I think it's slated for an August release as of now. Wouldn't be surprised if that changes, but I really hope this movie actually drops this year, and I want to know what the hell it's about. I don't even know. Like, I'm going in the dark. I'm just basing this off of the director and the lead actor, and I'm saying sign me the hell up still. At number 2 on my list, I've got Wicked for Good, formerly titled Wicked Part 2. Wicked was one of my favorite films of 2024, and I'll listen to that soundtrack forever. So of course I'll be hyped for this second part. I hope they stick the landing. I believe they will. From what I've heard, you know, my Broadway peeps out there, they've told me that Part 2 of, or Act 2 rather, of the play is weaker than Act 1 of the play. So the film has the opportunity to change some things up for the better, or for good, one could say. But I'm interested to see, you know, how they land the plane. I mean, it's going to kind of pair together as one epic film, I'd imagine. Years from now, people are going to do Wicked double features where they just watch 1 and 2 back to back as like a 5-hour epic. And I'm here for that, you know? If the music's remotely as good, if I'm as invested in the characters, this will likely be on my top 10 of 2025. I can't wait, you know, hopefully we get a trailer in the first few months of this year. But as of right now, my number one most anticipated movie of 2025 is going to be Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I've thought about this, and I'm going to say it. I think Mission Impossible is the greatest action movie franchise out there. There's one miss in the second film, and you could even argue it's better than a lot of the worst films in other action franchises like Fast and Furious or James Bond, but still, Mission Impossible is on a run right now. 4, 5, 6, 7, each has arguably gotten better and bigger in scale. The practical stunts that Tom Cruise commits to are out of this world, and this is being marketed as the final Mission Impossible in a sense, so of course, to see this franchise come to an end, at least for the time being, it's got to be my most anticipated. They dropped a little teaser, and every time I see it play in theaters, I get more and more excited for this film. The stakes are the highest they've ever been in Mission Impossible. I feel like Tom Cruise really wants to sell this one because Dead Reckoning still made a lot of money, but the budget was so massive that it didn't technically succeed at the box office. So for this movie, I think they're going the biggest they've gone. I like the squad we've got, and it feels like a final entry in Mission Impossible. I'll be sad if this is the last one, but at the same time, end on the highest note possible. This is my most anticipated of the year as of right now. Can't wait, and I'll be sat day one. I'll probably see this twice in theaters if it lands for me, and I really don't want it to disappoint, but Final Reckoning, I'm going to say it, is the one I'm the most excited for out of all the movies in 2025. But those are my top 10 most anticipated movies of the year. Let me know yours in the comments down below, and hit that like button, subscribe to that notification bell, and stay tuned for lots of content coming in 2025. But thank you guys, as always, for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.